What is going on, guys? It is your boy Cash, and I am here to do a character guide video on Krau. Now, obviously the reason why is because his banner's up, and he's probably one of the cooler knights in the game. I think he's one of the favorites that's been in the game for a long time. I think that most people don't know who the other knights are. Nah, I mean, you got CC, you got Charlotte, Tywin. Alright, so yeah, you have Krau. So I wanted to just go over and discuss this lovely man here. He's, his side story is probably, it's kind of funny, but it shows he's a concerning guy, which we kind of already know. He's like extremely stupidly powerful, and for all good reasons. So of course, let's go over the skills first. Now, attacks the enemy with a sword storm with 50% chance to provoke for 1 turn. Damage dealt increases proportional to the caster's max health. Now, if you guys don't know me, I love characters that scale off of other things that aren't attack. Big, lovely, dovely thing. It just allows you to have different builds, go for different rune sets and things of that nature. Love it all the time. Now, as you can see here, it's actually his provoke chance will actually go up to 75%. His provoke chance goes up to 75% when you level it up, and that's pretty damn high. Remember, a provoke stops the other character from doing their skills, and they have to attack him. So you know already that's gonna trigger my counter. So you attack them with the S1, you provoke them, they attack you, then you counter, and then they get provoked again. I love characters with good S1s. That's the only time I'll ever recommend counter. I recommend it on him, but I wouldn't run it on him, and we'll go through that later. Next is the S2, shoves the enemy with a shield, decreasing combat readiness by 35% before granting increased defense to the squad for 2 turns. Damage dealt again is, well, this one is proportionate to his defense. I was about to say again to his health, but I actually thought like they all scale off of his HP. So this one actually scales off his defense. Surprise! Now, if you level it up, we will be going up to 50% combat readiness decrease, which is, obviously half the bar. So it's a pretty good pushback, and you can get it low to a 3-turn cooldown with a 2-turn buff, which is really good. I'm gonna go to the last one, and we'll see which one we want to upgrade for, because obviously the S3 is what he is famous for. Summon Siegfried or Siegfried, whatever. Don't ask me. It's not my language. Summons the Guardian Siegfried to attack, dealing damage proportional to the caster's lost health. So the more HP he has, the more damage it does. As stating, it would be obvious that you want to build HP. It will strengthen your S1. Won't do much for the S2, but it's not like you shouldn't have defense on your HP, your tanks, or characters that you intend to tank. So you should have good things. But of course, if everyone else gives him a defense buff or some type of cooldown reduction, he can, get a good S2 off. But his S2 is not meant for damage. It's for the pushback and the AoE defense to the allies. But again, we'll read here. Also grants a barrier to the caster for 2 turns with strength proportional to the caster's max HP. So again, HP building. This attack cannot trigger a critical hit. It would be busted if it can trigger a critical hit. It does a lot of damage. Most of the time you'll see a Krau with like 10k or 13k HP. It's going to it scales off of his lost HP, so not like it's 1-to-1. Like if he has 10k missing, it does 10k. It will do more than 10k if he has 10k missing. So just keep that in mind, and as you guys build this guy up. So you definitely want to go HP. Now the build I would suggest on him, let's preview the skills if you guys happen to never seen Krau, because I feel like what's gonna happen is that when he does S3, is based off his lost HP, he's gonna get a barrier, and I actually would suggest a lifesteal, so you can actually have him as a crazy sustain tank. There you go. That's the S1. That lovely, I love the animation of that. It's like lifts them up, provokes them because they're pissed that they got lifted off the floor. Then the S2, which has a great animation to it too. Bam. Then that will give AoE defense to everyone. And then of course the S3 climbs on the horsey, goes straight through. 100 damage, because these are the toughest sandbags you have ever seen in your entire life. But yeah, so it's a pretty good, he's definitely a well-kitted character. Lifesteal I think is good, because I think he could just sit there and sustain. Look at the health shield that he gets, so you can sit there, you get low, you all get not all your HP back, but you get some of it back, and then on top of that as you're, you know, mitigating the damage with your defense, and then you're attacking them, provoking, healing that back, and things of that nature. That's why I would go lifesteal. I do think counter is pretty good. I've never seen Krau on counter. I think most people probably running him with like double or triple HP just to get as much HP on him. So his S3 is a pretty much a one shot. Then he gets the barrier, which scales off his HP. So I've never really seen people really like care too much to do any like extra builds with him as far as that. You could also go like, you know, a unity set, so he attacks with others so he can provoke them to increase the chance of you getting a provoke off. And there are a decent amount of bosses in the game that are actually not immune. They'll be immune to stun, but they're not immune to provoke. And of course, obviously, when you're fighting monsters, that's obviously good if you can provoke them. 75% chance is really high, and that is gonna like really, in my opinion, tip him over like when it comes down to like getting him to attack faster. Let's look at his base stats actually. Silly me, I forgot to actually go over which skill to upgrade first. Now his S3, all you're gonna get is souls, which 4 souls is pretty good, but you're not going to be using this that often. So even the 1 turn cooldown, I do think you want to do this one last. I'm gonna have to say you go S1, S2 if you really, you know, it like, again, it just, the cooldown goes down. The combat readiness push going down is pretty good, but I know people want this, but you can increase the damage of this, so it's just that one-time usage that I feel like that's all you're gonna do. If you do plan on going candlestick, I could say maybe go with the S3, level this up after, but the S1 is priority in my opinion. It's what you're going to be doing most of the time. If he's on counter or a ritual sword, he's going to be doing this a lot. So I do think that the S1 needs to be upgraded first. Now when we look at his base stats, 100 speed is pretty good for a tank, I would have to say. You're not gonna like, I mean, you could try to have him go first. I don't see the benefit of him going first besides just provoking a target or to hurry up and give the defense buff to everyone. I don't think that, to my knowledge currently, I don't think that there is a fast defense buffer that was probably besides Elson, and then they nerfed him to the ground. But him giving the defense buff to his squad is really important because it gives everyone survivability of that nature. But he still is really strong. If there's any reason why anyone would be pulling on the current banner, it's probably because of him more than Tenebria. Tenebria is a really good character, but I feel like she is more of a, you know, heavy DPS, and there's not that many mages that are, you know, that people have, or you know, that really want to build up. So it's kind of like, I can understand why they would probably not necessarily be like, but if you got Krau could change your account. You know, he could change your account for the better. Now let's go into, of course, the artifacts, you know, because that's going to be a big thing for him. What artifacts we're going to be using on the bad boy himself. First up, of course, we have to talk about the ritual sword. Basically, if they're attacking other people, he'll attack and he can then provoke them and then they'll attack him. I think this is better if you're using the counter build because you can focus more attacks. You can get more provokes off with this, and then if they attack you, you attack them and then lock them up a little bit. Especially because he is water, that means he could lock up a potential Angelica, a Diane. He actually can go in there and shut these characters down that are, you know, water or fire mixed in these characters. And I think that's where most of the people supports outside of Chloe. He can't, you know, he'll have a tough time like locking her down, but usually people have very I was about to say thin, that doesn't even make sense, but usually they have a light HP, you know, Chloe, and it's usually focused around speed so they can get the turn first, so that you don't, you know, it's not hard to kill them. But as far as taking out like a Luna, you want a Luna to like never ult at all. Give him maybe some speed, or if Luna does ult someone else, then he'll provoke her and then keep her provoked like for 8 years, and then you just have to have him tank it, and he definitely can. And especially with his own defense buff, he can keep knocking them back with the S2. And then if anyone else is just kind of attacking other people, because you don't want to attack Krau, so that's the best part about the ritual sword. It's definitely one of the best ones, is because no one wants to attack Krau. They probably want to save him for last. So this gets him in the game, it gets him attacking, gets him provoking, forcing wasted attacks on him, and then boom, he's just doing the Lord's work. Holy Sacrifice. Holy Sacrifice is really good for the fact, if you guys don't know, is that you do not lose your turn order. If you're about to go and then you get sniped and then Holy Sacrifice revives you, you actually still keep your place in line. This is especially important if you are trying to wait until the last second to do your S3 to have the most lost HP and then get a really good, pretty much one-hit KO ultimate S3 off. So that's what Holy Sacrifice would be if you're really, maybe if you're very heavy HP focused. Obviously you can even see here, maxing this out will give you almost 1,000 additional HP. Plus if you do max it out, it's 100% chance for it to, and you only get 25% HP back, which is still a lot, but then your turn will come and still that order, which even good, because maybe you were stunned, maybe you got CC'd up and they didn't, well, it does tell you in the beginning that you have Holy Sacrifice, but you know, they eventually have to kill you, and then you can still run that. I actually, again, would run this with possibly the lifesteal to just kind of be an annoyance, kind of hard to kill him, S3ing every once in a while, and then also S3 after you Holy Sacrifice come back to life, just to be an annoyance. Just it's a huge annoying, and that's what knights are meant to do. Knights are meant to pretty much punish the opponent for ignoring them. So really good knights do that when they're, you know, really good tanks, I should say, not just knights, because obviously now we have Charles and Charlotte that are not, you know, they're DPS, but when you have a character that is not meant to really be DPS, they have to be annoying, and that's what this would be. It would be really good annoying that you finally kill off the Krau because he's doing too much work, and then he just comes back anyway and then ults you. Noble Oath, obviously, I would definitely say is a good one. Obviously, for the fact that it gives him, as his health gets lower, which is your goal, his defense and effective resistance will go up. This is another, I guess, argument, or I would have to say, for using a lifesteal, using some type of sustain, or having sustain within your comp to pretty much, as your health gets lower, it becomes harder and harder to kill you. So since only the S3 scales off lost health, you would, as this is happening, you're harder to kill. You do want to have a build that kind of like helps you along with that, because yeah, you're harder to kill, but outside of, I guess I'm just thinking too much for PvP, but you know, in PvE, you know, that's obviously really good. He's your frontline tank. He'll sit there and he'll take longer to die. Your healers will have more time to heal him up, and then it just keeps cycling over and over again, especially because the effective resistance goes up as well. So now he's resisting poisons, bleeds, stuns, and whatever random stuff that the dungeon has in there for him. And effective resistance is another, I didn't mention that, but that's also a really good thing to have on a tank to pretty much make sure that they don't get locked up. Sword of Ezra, it's pretty much a PvE thing. It's good if you need to use it. I don't think it's something that you permanently put on a character. It's something that I think you swap onto them for a specific thing and then take it off and put something better when, you know, when the moment arises. Pretty much, it's not something that you want to leave on the character. Unless you're only playing the PvE with them, then that's fine. But obviously, once you want to go to PvP, this thing does absolutely nothing for you, so you might as well switch it off. But it's pretty okay. I think that this is the one that's in there for the challenge. I still am on the fence of actually going to get it because I feel like it's not necessary. Justice for All gives you a nice little buff. It tells you all the buffs that you can get, and they're all good. I think no matter what you're really trying to do with the character, with the knight, it is a good thing, and it also has the same, it gives you the big HP. I think it's pretty good. I do think that the other ones are dramatically better. The Ritual Sword, Holy Sacrifice are like a lot better for him, but you know, getting a free buff at the end of your turn is not really the worst thing in the world. It's, you know, especially if you don't have the other ones. I do think this one's a little bit weaker than the others, but it's still pretty good. Aureus, I don't think we really have to talk about it. It's one of the best knight artifacts. You reduce damage dealt to your teammates, you take the damage onto yourself, lowering his HP, helping his S3 out over time. It still takes a long time for it to do a significant amount of damage, but it's a pretty good one. It's pretty much, and I think they give them to you for free, I think, when you first start, so everyone kind of has it. Adamant Shield is more of a tech option, and when I say tech, as in you would put this on if you think that you're going to be crit to death, especially to counter out when you look at a team comp in PvP and you just see, oh, they're definitely trying to kill me. They're definitely trying to kill me with some AoE nonsense, and you just put this on and it's going to reduce the damage a decent amount. Plus, if he does get a turn and then the defense, he can get the defense. PvE could happen, but I feel like I'm not exactly 100% sure how often I get crit in PvE, so I can't, it's hard for me to type that, but I know in PvP people purposely put crit chance on their characters, so it's obviously that's going to be a thing. The Lance. This is always a beautiful option because, like I was saying earlier, is that people want to ignore your tank and hit the squishy targets, hit your supports. They don't want to hit the tank. The tank is just there to waste time. So again, just like the ritual sword, you have something here that benefits you when they do not attack you, and it's going to give you more turns. Your turn's going to come quicker. That means you're going to S2 a little bit quicker. You're going to S1 a lot more, disrupting their game plan. And then all of a sudden, boom, you're killing them, and then they're like, dang, we need to kill this Krau, and then they really can't do that either. So it's a really good tech option in my opinion, especially if you do see a real single target based team. You probably know that they're probably not gonna focus you. And if you have definitely another tanky team, you know, while they're failing killing something else that they thought they can kill, then Krau's getting extra turns. So it's pretty good. I really like it, especially if say they're trying to kill your Soul Weaver, and the Soul Weaver has Idol's Cheer, and like everyone's getting passive combat readiness for, you know, them just not knowing who to kill. I love it. Last but not least, we do have the 3-star artifacts. Candlestick is always going to be a good one because it lowers the cooldowns as he's getting hit. He's provoking people, so they're going to hit him, you know, yada yada. It's pretty obvious. Egg of Delusion is pretty good, gives him defense the higher his HP is. Sorry. When he's above half health, he'll have, you know, increased defense, which is obviously pretty good. Aqua Rose wouldn't be too bad. He has high HP, gives him HP when he gets attacked. He's going to be provoking people, so he's going to get attacked. Pretty good option. And Envoys Pipe. I think Envoys Pipe is actually not that bad. I would tech it with though with like kind of like lifesteal, like they're trying to kill you and they really can't kind of kill you kind of thing, and then you just keep healing. Then you have the S3, knock them off their socks. I do think that Envoys Pipe is very underlooked artifact. It does decrease damage overall, doesn't matter what kind of damage it is, when you're at less than half an HP. So I really think that people should give it more of a shot. But yeah, I think that's gonna be the last artifact. So did I convince you to come down to the banner? I personally don't want to summon on the banner. I think I don't have, like, Krau's really good, and then you have Tenebria, right? You know, like I said, like, you have a chance to get them, but at the same time, I don't know. But I hope that if you guys do have the character, or if you're aiming to get the character, I gave you guys some insight of really good ways to build the character. Again, lifesteal is really good. I think counter is actually good. Especially if you start getting provokes off and then you counter and then you just lock that character down. 75% chance to provoke is huge, definitely a huge thing. And like I said, or you know, you could be doing, you know, counter and like or just doing the candlestick stuff so you get your S3 quicker, which I actually did not check. I think I'm a bad guy. I'm a bad guy. This goes down in 1 cooldown, so 5 turns. I didn't acknowledge that. So it's 5 turns, and you know that you can pretty much get that really quickly if you have the candlestick. So up to you guys. Obviously, I just try to give options, suggestions. And do you guys want to see Tenebria? I know you guys have some other requests that I'm still trying to get down to. Kayron, Tamarine, and I think that's really it. I think someone said 7, the 3-star dark guy that, like, he's kind of like Kayron. So I probably would do that with Kayron, and like maybe at the same time, and just be like, you should do that the same thing. But Kayron's a little bit more interesting to me. All right, so hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Smack someone to your left, or if you're alone like me, you can't do that, but just kidding. Have a good one, guys. Peace.